News Scene. Chuck Moore anchors with Jackie Maddox. Harmon Wages on sports. Guy Sharp, color radar weather. Now, News Scene. Now, Chuck Moore.
Good evening. Here's what's happening. At this very minute, Georgia Railroad crews are working to untangle a dangerous derailment in eastern Rockdale County. TV5's Charles Ely was on the scene. We hope to have a report from him just a little later in News Scene. The Civil Defense says the businesses that were evacuated there will not be allowed to open in the morning. They are John Deere, Gas Incorporated, Lawrence David, Evans Tool and Die, and all other small businesses in the area. I'm told now that our report from Charles Ely is ready.
From this gentleman, the chairman of the board.
Walton Clothes. We want you to be one more of the best-dressed men in town.
Only Diner's Double card gives you one card for business expenses, one card for personal expenses.
He's got one card for work
and one card for fun.
Two cards are better than one.
You get one card for work, one card for fun.
Two cards are better than one.
Excuse me, boss, is this work or fun?
Fun. Diner's Double card. More card than you've ever had.
The stylish Ford Fairmont has the most room for the money of any car, which is great for a family of 4.
Or 5.
Or 5. 5.
Fairmont, America's proven success.
5?
TV5 News Scene. The Atlanta News Team with Chuck Moore and Jackie Maddox. Superstar Sports with Harmon Wages. Guy Sharp with color radar weather. Here's Chuck Moore.
Good evening. Here's what's happening. President Carter will receive a hero's welcome tonight when he returns to Washington in less than 2 hours. In a dramatic conclusion to his 6-day Middle East peace mission, the president announced in Cairo today that Egypt and Israel had reached agreement on the terms of a peace treaty. Israeli Prime Minister Begin has called his cabinet into special session tomorrow to approve the pact. Begin has threatened to quit if the proposals are rejected. He talked with CBS's Walter Cronkite tonight about the prospects for a treaty.
The answer, Mr. Cronkite, is we made great progress towards that goal. But I would reserve judgment until after the session of the Cabinet and the session of our Knesset, to which, if the Cabinet is in a position to say all the outstanding issues were resolved, we shall bring this question. Do you approve of the peace treaty with its annexes? If there is a majority in the Knesset, then we shall sign the peace treaty in a very short time, a few days perhaps after. Well, if there is no majority, the government will resign.
On Capitol Hill, both Democrats and Republicans praised President Carter for his apparent success. Arizona Senator Barry Goldwater, one of the president's strongest foreign policy critics, was one of the first to speak out.
It took courage to do it, and we hope it's successful. But if it isn't successful, I would urge the American people to give credit to this fellow who at least had the guts to go over and try it, even though the chances look mighty slim.
I think there's room here for hopefulness that the treaty will eventuate. I would hope that the Israeli cabinet and the Knesset would support the proposals.
Air Force One is expected to arrive in Washington around 12:30 tonight. What might happen if the Israeli parliament refuses to go along with the treaty proposals? TV5 News Scene's Paul Yates tonight asked that question to Peter White, president of the Southern Center for International Studies.
Well, Menachem Begin has already announced that he would resign, for one thing, which would set up a whole new political situation inside Israel. It certainly would embarrass President Sadat, and it would do no good at all for President Carter, either domestically, political sense in the United States, or as a world leader.
Would it create a dangerous situation in your view?
Oh, I would think it would, very definitely.
What could the result of that dangerous situation be?
You might see a more radical, you might see Egypt go the way of Iran in terms of a militant Muslim government established. You might see the Saudi Arabians driven closer to the Soviet Union than they are. You might see internal political bickering in Israel. It would be a very unpleasant experience for the world to have to tolerate.
White said if the treaty is approved, one problem for the U.S. will be the cost of the settlement in terms of money and a possible American military presence in the Middle East. Jackie?
Fulton County government is in a big mess, according to 3 members of the county commission. Reginald Eves, Michael Lomax, and Chuck Williams spoke to the Conference of Minority Public Administrators tonight at the MLK Community Center. They all agreed that Fulton County has pressing problems in the areas of health care, housing, and economic development. Commissioner Eves was very critical of County Manager Sam Brownlee. Eves says Brownlee has a poor record in appointing minorities to Fulton County administrative jobs. Well, a compromise proposal to increase the pay of Georgia teachers got a tentative okay today from the Senate Appropriations Committee. The panel delayed final approval until a review of the entire $2.7 billion state budget for fiscal 1980 is completed. The compromise proposal offered by Governor Busby waters down the House-approved pay hike of 9% for public school teachers by distributing a portion to university personnel and other state workers. President Carter's anti-inflation program ran into a snag today. The AFL-CIO went to court in Washington to stop the president from making good on his threat to take government contracts away from companies not complying with voluntary wage price guidelines. AFL-CIO President George Meany said Carter's threats would turn a voluntary program into a mandatory one, and he said that's why it's being challenged in court. Meany says if the AFL-CIO wins, he'll ask Congress to institute mandatory controls on all wages and prices. Chuck?
There was more controversy today over the parking concession at Hartsfield Airport. The Atlanta City Council's Transportation Committee rejected a proposal that would have guaranteed the city $10 million over the next 17 months. That was a bid from a Buffalo, New York company to operate the parking lots at the airport. But it didn't include the shuttle bus service. So the council voted to rebid the contracts, a move that may end up costing the city $2 million. A committee of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights has begun a study of how well women and minorities fit into the Georgia workforce. The director of the Commission's Southern Regional Office said today that the Georgia Advisory Committee would evaluate current state policies, hiring practices, and attitudes toward women and minorities. He said women's salaries, involvement in policy making, and their disbursement throughout state agencies will also be examined. There was a large brush fire in northwest Atlanta today.
And a young boy lost his life in a DeKalb County house fire. We'll have that and much more when News Scene returns.
Don't miss our grand opening sale, the newly remodeled Food Giant Supermarket, 2747 Watts Road at I-75 in Kennesaw. Many buy one or two and get one free specials. All Food Giants and Big Apples celebrate with the Meat Value Spectacular. U.S. Choice Plus Top Sirloin, Heavy Western corn-fed and trimmed, $1.69 a pound. Mixed pork chops, $1.29 a pound. Whole smoked picnics, 89 cents a pound. Super savings from the meat specialist, where you can play double dollar bingo at Big Apple or Food Giant.
Looking for a personal car? Let Lincoln Mercury show you the light with Cougar XR7. Boldly styled with a handsome new grille. Luxuriously equipped with V8, automatic, power steering, power brakes, all standard. We're out to sell a total of 200,000 new cars in 6 weeks. And we've got a wide selection of exciting Cougar XR7 values in our big Shows You the Light sales drive.
Let your Lincoln Mercury dealer show you the light now.
There's no jazz like New Orleans jazz.
And there's no beer like a Milwaukee beer.
Did somebody mention Milwaukee?
Whenever they mention the town of Milwaukee, you think of beer. When you think of beer, the one to count on is Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee is named after the city that means beer. And every Old Milwaukee tastes as great as its name.
Old Milwaukee.
Here's Benny Goodman for Geico Insurance.
It's always easier to relax at home, especially if everything you own is covered by insurance.
Right, Benny. And Geico, the good driver company, offers insurance savings on your home as well as your car.
Now, all you smart homeowners, swing to Geico today.
To find out how much you may save on your insurance, call us collect at 523-1025.
Atlanta fire officials say there were about 62 brush fires in the city today. One of the biggest occurred in northwest Atlanta, and TV5's Paul Yates was on the scene.
It was a brush fire at least 2 miles long. The fire ran along railroad tracks from North Avenue to Northside Drive. The flames came uncomfortably close to businesses and warehouses along the tracks. A muffler shop was heavily damaged.
45 minutes after it began, the fire was just about under control. Atlanta firefighters say the trickiest part of fighting a fire like this is simply getting to it.
Because of the location on the tracks, we had fences. It was just a hassle to get to the fire, really. We have to get in behind these buildings. If they're open, the fences and whatever, we can get in. If they're not, we can't. We have to use forcible entrance at times. I don't know of any way that you could change it. I have no idea of any way that you could change it.
Some 30 firemen had to pick their way through the area to put out the flames. The wind did not help their efforts. There was concern over a 500-gallon gas tank in the area, but the fire was contained before reaching it. Paul Yates, TV5 News Scene.
A house fire took the life of a 7-year-old boy earlier today in DeKalb County. Fire broke out in the Laren Jackson home at 3949 Vera Cruz Drive about 1:30 this morning. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson made it out without problem, but their son, Lerone Lamar, didn't. Mr. Jackson ran back in to try to save his son, but couldn't get to him for the flames. Investigators say the fire apparently started in the child's room. Cause of that fire is still under investigation. Chuck.
A federal magistrate is expected to rule soon on a variety of pretrial motions filed by attorneys for indicted Atlanta City Councilman Arthur Langford. In court today, Langford's attorneys argued that the charges against Langford should be dismissed. He's charged with extortion, perjury, and obstruction of justice. Federal Magistrate Joel Feldman must decide whether federal authorities violated the lawyer-client privilege when they authorized the secret tape recording of a meeting involving Langford to defense attorneys and government witness Fred Williams. Whichever way Judge Feldman rules, an appeal to the U.S. District Court is likely. The Justice Department says it will wait until Senate Ethics Committee hearings have been conducted before deciding whether to prosecute Georgia Senator Herman Talmadge. Those hearings are set to begin April 23rd. A former aide of the accused senator, or the senator, has accused the senator of financial misbehavior. That aide, Daniel Minshew, may also be prosecuted for his financial dealings. Remember Lynette Squeaky Fromm, the former Charles Manson cultist convicted of trying to shoot President Gerald Ford? Well, a fellow inmate at a women's prison in California has accused Squeaky of attacking her with a claw hammer. Squeaky has been isolated from the rest of the inmates since the incident happened last Thursday. Harmon Wages is ready with the Tuesday night sports, including Flames general manager Cliff Fletcher talking about today's big trade with the Chicago Blackhawks, and a look at a big gymnastics exhibition in Atlanta tonight. Superstar Sports is next as News Scene continues.
Hey, Corvallis, Oregon. Who introduced the radial tire?
He did!
Hey, Lexington, Kentucky. Who makes only radial tires? He does. He's the Michelin man, and at Michelin we put you first. That's why we won't make a second best tire, because the only thing more important than our tires are the people who ride on them. Hey, Independence, Missouri, who's the fastest growing tire company in America?
Michelin!
At Michelin we put you first.
A great car is now $318 better. It's the great Plymouth Volare, the car that combines room, ride, and comfort with manageable size. It features a value package of popular options like power steering and brakes, AM radio with rear speaker, digital clock, white walls and wheel covers, plus automatic transmission at no charge. That's $318 off the sticker price. The Volare automatic transmission offer.
Ship and Shore brings you the fashion news for spring. New length tunics in Kiana over narrow pants. Easy, elegant two-piece Kiana dressing in beautiful prints and solids. And here, Ship and Shore's new natural linen look in shirts. All with the crunchy, rich, textured look of linen. Note the new sleeves. Ship and Shore Kiana and Ship and Shore linen looks. What wonderful ways to look.
Available at fine stores everywhere.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places.
Mr. Carlin, your briefcase.
We are people-pleasing places.
Holiday Inn hotels are #1 in the world with the best standards.
Everything all right, sir?
Everything's just fine. People-pleasing standards to help make your trip successful.
Wherever you go in this whole big traveling world,
We want to make you comfortable.
Holiday Inn is #1 in people-pleasing.
Some new faces now for the Atlanta Flames, Harmon.
True, 3 new players, 5 Flames go up to Chicago. Town's still talking about today's Flames trade. 5 Flames to Chicago for 3 Blackhawks. From the Flames, it goes like this. Captain Tom Lysiak, the all-time leading scorer with 155 goals. Harold Filipoff, a left-wing 10th-round pick in '76, known for his aggressiveness on the left there. Pat Ribble, bottom left, a defenseman, one of 3 defensemen going up there. Along with him will be Greg Fox and Miles Zaharko, you see there in the middle, who's been with the farm club in Tulsa, the Tulsa Oilers. But today I talked with the man who traded these 5 players, General Manager Cliff Fletcher, who tells me why and for whom.
Well, the biggest reason for us making the trade, Harmon, was the fact that we felt that the opportunity of acquiring a defenseman the caliber of Phil Russell. He was originally a first-round draft choice of the Blackhawks back in 1972. He's been one of the better defensemen in the National Hockey League over the past 6 years. He's not playing as well this year as he has in the past, but we feel very strongly that when you start adding up the top 9 or 10 defensemen in the league, that he fits right in that category. So our playoff record in the past has been terrible. We've only won 1 playoff game in 11 attempts so far, and throughout this season we've been having a lot of trouble with our goals against. We're giving up far too many goals against for our position in the standing. So we feel in getting Phil Russell, we're getting a real fine quality defenseman. Along with Ivan Boldarev, who scored 35 goals last year, he already has 29 goals this year. We feel he can step in and replace Tom Lysiak and do a terrific job for us.
Why does Chicago feel they made the trade? What was in it for Chicago? What did they need that they got?
Well, obviously, Lysiak is the key to the trade as far as they're concerned. They're looking for someone to help, someone with a name, someone who's a colorful player, someone who will help bring people into their building. They're in the Smythe division. It's not very competitive. The crowds are down, and they feel that as exciting a hockey player as Tommy Lysiak is, that he'll more than help rejuvenate hockey interest in Chicago. Yep.
And in my opinion, after talking with Flames players today before they left for the New York Rangers game tomorrow night, and with Flames management most of the afternoon, it was indeed a good trade for the Flames. Remember, at this point in time, the Flames' top line of Vail, Chouinard, and McMillan are second in the entire National Hockey League in scoring. In other words, Tom Lysiak became expendable in sports on the pro level. Really is hardcore business. Scores tonight, the Islanders beat Boston 7-2. Bossy a hat-trick, 1-1 Colorado in the second. Atlanta at New York tomorrow night. Philadelphia in Chicago tomorrow night. The Hawks are in Portland tonight. That game just now beginning. If they win it, it makes 10 straight. The record for the Hawks is 12 straight back in 1968 and 69. Tonight in the NBA, Chicago beat the Nets 105-102. Philadelphia beat Cleveland 124-120. The Knicks over the Jazz. Indiana beat Detroit in overtime. And Washington beat L.A. 120-111. Now tonight at the Omni, gymnastics at its best. 16 countries represented in mixed pair competition. There's a good crowd on hand tonight at the Omni, as you can see. About 4,000 or 5,000, as I understand, for the American Cup Tour gymnastics events. Here you see the man on the rings. I thought we'd show you some of the different routines down at the Omni tonight. Watch this man on the horse. He does it. That went on most of the night. It was very interesting. A lot of talented athletes down there. 16 countries represented.
It's always fun to watch something.
It really is, really is.
Thank you, Herman. Time now for the editorial. Here's TV5's Public Affairs Director, Dale Clark.
The governor and legislators are wrestling right now with the problem of a teacher's pay raise and the federal guideline limit of 7%. At the 78th session, they adopted a $2.4 billion budget for fiscal year 79 to run the state until July 1st of this year. But when they assembled this January, there was a huge surplus on hand, and they've authorized spending $300 million more. Those millions must be spent before July 1st of this year. That's a whopping 12.5% budget increase packed into a 4-month spending pattern. What are the federal guidelines? Why no concern then about the impact on inflation? We know nobody is pushing spending guidelines on anything other than salaries. But the war against inflation cannot be fought and won this way. The governor and legislators may wrap themselves in the federal anti-inflation flag if they like, but in our opinion, they picked up the flag too late, and they're not fooling the people. The TV5 editorial on March 6 had this statement: because of their past lean years, the proposed 7% raise for teachers, in our judgment, is not sufficient. We submit that's the judgment of many Georgia parents. The governor and legislators need to wrestle with reality, not guidelines to be invoked when wanted.
Agree or disagree? We invite your opinion. Post Office Box 4207, Atlanta 30302.
Flood victims in 3 Georgia counties will get some help from Uncle Sam.
And the special unit has part 3 of its series on income tax preparation. Jim Axel is next after News Scene takes a break.
Gorton's announces the end of the quiet fish stick. Introducing Gorton's new crunchy fish sticks and portions with more crunch than any other leading breaded fish stick. They're covered with a delicious new kind of toasted breadcrumbs, and inside is mild-tasting, flaky white fish. Gorton's crunchy fish sticks and portions. The result speaks for itself.
Trust the Gorton's fishermen from Gorton's of Gloucester.
There is now a Mercedes-Benz station wagon, as different from other wagons as Mercedes-Benz cars are different from other cars. You see, Mercedes believes that a Mercedes-Benz station wagon should behave like a Mercedes-Benz car. The 300 TD diesel station wagon, Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world.
Ready for a big switch? These are the biggest hair colors in the country. This is the newest from Revlon, ammonia-free color silk. It doesn't rough up your hair, so Revlon can promise you color that's rich, true, and lasting, and hair that feels silkier and looks healthier. It's even been salon tested for you. Great color and great hair too. So why let ammonia hair color near your hair? Why don't you switch to Revlon's new ammonia-free color silk? Makes sense, right?
PM Magazine, a lighthearted look at people, places, and things. On Wednesday's edition, John Patrick finds out that if a person can scramble an egg, find a light switch in the dark, and reverse a Volkswagen, he can learn to juggle. John did from author John Cassidy. Then we meet a musician with platinum albums, acting successes, and super concert dates after a career that started very slowly. None other than Texan Willie Nelson. All that and more on the next edition of PM, Wednesday at 7:30.
About 40 million Americans will ask the Internal Revenue Service for help or advice before they file their federal income tax returns this year. Jim Axel of TV5 Special Unit wanted to find out what kind of advice those taxpayers will get.
A member of our special unit, posing as a member of an average family, went to 3 IRS tax assistance centers. We went prepared with the same information we used in checking out commercial tax preparation firms. The 3 centers were located in East Point, Marietta, and in downtown Atlanta. We found out quickly that the IRS does not prepare your return. They only offer advice. They'll answer specific questions and tell you where to put what on your return, but they don't help you dig for deductions. And if you supply deductions that aren't legal, well, they may end up on your return unless you ask specific questions about them. Faced with that situation, we found it all but impossible to complete our tax return.
What do these returns tell us?
Well, in my opinion, they tell us that enough advisory attention was not paid to the party who was seeking help from the Internal Revenue Service preparers.
If you bring a listing of your deductions to us, we presume that those deductions are correct and ask you to put them on the return on the lines that are designated on the return. Now then, they're built into that as a presumption also that if you ask us specifically a question about the deductibility of a particular item or the correctness in handling a particular item, our people should be trained and under an obligation to tell you if that specific item is a deductible item and how it is to be handled on the return.
But on an information sheet such as this, if something is not on here, even though it may appear obvious, they're not going to ask for it, are they?
No, we do not do an in-depth or probing interview. We take the items that you have listed on your list of deductions and ask that you place them on the return.
IRS officials say 85% of those asking for help file the short form. And if more Americans with more complicated returns ask for help, they might have to beef up their assistance program. But that would cost taxpayers more money, money the IRS says it doesn't have now. In our next report, we'll look at specific items on our tax return where commercial preparers made mistakes and what items gave them trouble. For TV5 Special Unit, I'm Jim Axel.
Residents of 3 North Georgia counties hit by severe flooding last week will be eligible for some federal assistance. The government will provide up to 80 mobile homes for families in Polk, Gilmer, and Floyd counties who were made homeless by the flood. Governor Busby says he will write to the Small Business Administration and the Farmers Home Administration, trying to get low-interest loans for those folks, too. Guy Sharp is standing by to tell us how long this nice weather is going to last. He's next, as News Scene continues.
On. Yes.
At Neil Pope Ford, we're proud to offer our used car customers a wide and varied selection. Over 200 cars, trucks, and vans at Buford Highway and our newest facility on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. It doesn't matter what you're looking for, because if we don't have it, we'll find it for you. Call us at 455-7673. If you're out of town, just call Collect. Let us show you what so many of our customers talk about.
There is something brewing, and it's headed your way. Crisp, cold, refreshing. A bold new look and a bright new taste. Busch. So don't just reach for a beer. Head for the mountains. New Busch.
Gee, officer, what did I do wrong?
Not a thing. In fact, you did everything exactly right. Didn't tailgate, you signaled before you switched lanes, you stopped at the stop sign. Look, I've seen plenty of accidents caused by bad drivers. I bet you never caused an accident. Someone ought to say, thank you, mister, for all the good things you've done.
And that someone is Geico, the good driver company. If you're a good driver, Geico believes you should pay less for auto insurance than bad drivers. Insuring with Geico is like joining a club with special privileges for good drivers.
To join, call Geico at 523-1025. That's 523-1025 for all the good things you've done. Outside the Atlanta area, call Geico Collect at 404-523-1025.
Guy has promised the rain will go away.
About midday tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get,
Oh,
we've had some
good.
light showers most of the evening, scattered all around the North Georgia area. And they will continue probably, well, it could last until noontime. More than likely by mid-morning they'll start clearing out. And then we go to slightly cooler or almost cold temperatures for a day or two. But nothing drastic, except for possibly in the extreme North Georgia area where it may get down to the freezing or 30-degree mark along in there. Let's take a look at our color radar. A few light showers showing up over Atlanta and parts of the North Georgia area. They'll intensify, disappear, and re-intensify during the course of the night. Parts of central and south Georgia, and maybe even in parts of North Georgia, might even get a thunder shower or two, but it won't be very long-lasting, and by midday tomorrow, we'll see the sun come breaking forth again and cooler temperatures. Presently at 61 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 Celsius, after a high today of 72 and a morning low of 42. The sky is rainy right now, the humidity 56%. The barometric pressure continues to fall, 30.11 inches, with a southerly wind at 8. And out at the airport, they've had a trace of rain, but we're still ahead for the year, a little less than 1 3/4 of an inch. No available pollution report to give you today, but we do have a satellite picture that shows the gathering clouds over the east and the southeast and along the Gulf. They've had rather heavy thunderstorms in parts of Louisiana and Arkansas and southwestern Alabama. What we're going to have tomorrow basically is this. A new storm system, not very major, but enough to cause quite heavy rain from northern California up into Washington and Oregon, moving inland with generally fair to partly cloudy skies and blowing snow drifts or snow showers over most of the Dakotas, making visibilities very hazardous there and very limited. The heavier snowfall will be over the lakes, down into the mountains of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, western New York, and on up into the northern Appalachians, with rain throughout most of the eastern seaboard all the way down, with some thunder showers along the Gulf Coast. Scattered showers in the far southwest, generally sunshine over the southern plain states. If you're traveling around the country, these are tomorrow's highs and the sky conditions in those cities. You might be interested to note that Chicago set a record high for this date of 56 degrees. That's the first time that it has been that warm since back in November, and that's the first time I can remember going 4 days without mentioning snow for Chicago. Our highs today range from 70 to 75. Very consistent. The official forecast for Atlanta vicinity calls for cloudy conditions with a 60% chance of rain tonight, diminishing to 30% tomorrow morning, then clearing and cooler tomorrow afternoon into Thursday. The low in the morning will be 47. The high tomorrow may get up to 67, down to 34 degrees on Thursday morning and up to the low 50s. Then a slight warming trend with fair to partly cloudy conditions, but no mention of rain for the weekend thus far.
Good enough.
Sounds good to me, Guy.
Me too.
Thank you. That's what's happening. Stay tuned now for Barnaby Jones. For the News Scene team, I'm Chuck Moore. Good night.
Portions of News Scene have been brought to you by Food Giant and Big Apple.
Tonight on the CBS Late Movie, a double feature.
Swallow away. Presenting a TV first for Alka-Seltzer. The makers asked the takers for headache and upset stomach. Why Alka-Seltzer?
Oh, I hear that pleasant fizz fizz. It's like music to my ears.
It's like telling you. Relief, relief.
I know those bubbles are going to do the trick.
Through the teeth and through the gums, look out, belly, here she comes.
Plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Oh, what a relief it is.
Oh, what a relief it is.
And it is.
The first time I saw it, I knew it was different. CoverGirl Professional Mascara. There's never been a mascara like this before. See how different the brush is? It's curved, like your lash line. Curved to color and curl perfectly. And the rich fiber-free formula defines and lengthens my lashes. Gives me the look I want.